General Hospital spoilers keep pulling me back into that old feeling lately. That feeling where you sit there staring at the screen after an episode ends and you almost forget to breathe for a second because you realize somebody just crossed a line they can never uncross. And guys, if you ask me, this whole possible storyline with Kristina discovering Ethan's secret could become one of those moments that changes the emotional temperature of Port Charles for years. Not weeks, years. That's the kind of story I think we're inching toward right now. What really got my attention is how carefully the show has been positioning Ethan since his return. We've seen him slide back into town carrying that familiar charm, that little crooked smile, that easygoing attitude that used to make people lower their guard. But something feels different this time. You can feel it underneath the surface. The writing keeps hinting that Ethan is tangled in something darker, something connected to power plays, secret deals, and people who do not forgive betrayal. And the second Kristina started defending him and standing close to him emotionally, I had a bad feeling in my gut. We all know this show loves turning trust into tragedy. The way I see it, Kristina is exactly the kind of character who would stumble into the truth without even realizing how dangerous it is. She leads with emotion. She always has. That's not me insulting her either. Honestly, that emotional instinct is what makes her human. But it also gets her into trouble because she believes she can fix broken people if she just reaches them emotionally enough. We've watched her do this before, over and over again. And if Ethan really is hiding something massive, then Kristina is the absolute worst person to uncover it because she would never quietly walk away from it. I keep thinking about those scenes lately where Kristina has looked more mature, more grounded, almost like the writers wanted us to trust that she finally found stability. Whenever General Hospital starts giving a character emotional balance like that, I start sweating a little because usually it means disaster is waiting around the corner. That's soap opera law at this point. Peace is temporary in Port Charles. Happiness practically comes with an expiration date stamped on it. Now, here's where things get really interesting to me. I do not think Ethan's secret is something small like cheating somebody out of money or hiding a random alliance. No. If the show goes all the way with this storyline, then his secret has to connect directly to violence or betrayal involving Sonny's world. Maybe Ethan has been feeding information to Sidwell. Maybe he accepted some kind of mission thinking he could outsmart everybody involved. Maybe he believed he could dance between both sides without getting burned. But what these characters always forget is that Port Charles eats people alive when they try playing both hero and villain at the same time. And Kristina would absolutely start putting the puzzle together piece by piece. I can already picture it. One overheard conversation. One suspicious phone call. One moment where Ethan's face changes because she asked the wrong question. That's the kind of slow tension General Hospital still does better than people give it credit for. They let the dread simmer. They let us sit there yelling at the television because we know danger is coming before the character does. If you ask me, the emotional hook here is not even the murder itself. It's Ethan realizing too late that Kristina genuinely cared about him. That's where the heartbreak lives. Because I do not think Ethan would begin this story intending to kill her. I think he would start by lying to survive. Then he would lie again to protect the first lie. Then another lie to protect himself from exposure. And eventually he backs himself into a corner so tight that panic takes over. That is classic General Hospital tragedy right there. One bad decision, growing teeth, and turning into a monster. Guys, imagine the actual scene for a second. Late night. Maybe the Metro Court after closing. Or the docks, because this show loves those shadowy dock confrontations. Kristina confronts Ethan holding proof that he betrayed somebody dangerous. She's emotional, furious, hurt. Ethan tries calming her down at first. Then she says she's going to Sonny. And the second Sonny's name enters the conversation, everything changes. You can almost hear the tension crack. That's where I think the writers could deliver a truly devastating moment. Not a cartoon villain murder. Not some cold, calculated execution. Something messy, emotional, chaotic. Maybe Ethan grabs her arm to stop her from leaving. Maybe she falls during the struggle. Maybe she hits her head. Maybe there's shattered glass involved. However they do it, the horror would come from Ethan standing there realizing the situation just became irreversible. And let me tell you something. If General Hospital actually goes there, the fallout would be nuclear. Sunny would go completely off the rails. Completely. Especially because Kristina is one of the few people who still reaches the softer side of him. Losing her because of somebody he allowed near the family would destroy him emotionally. We could see that old rage come roaring back, the kind that makes Sunny terrifying instead of sympathetic. Maurice always plays grief with this simmering fury underneath it, and honestly, I think the show has been missing that energy lately. Then there's Alexis. That's the part that really gets me. Because Alexis has spent years watching her daughters suffer, spiral, survive, and rebuild themselves. For Kristina to die after finally starting to look emotionally stronger would be brutally cruel. But soap operas thrive on cruel timing. They always have. And Nancy would absolutely tear the roof off with material like this. I can already imagine those scenes where Alexis realizes Kristina's last moments were spent terrified and betrayed by somebody she trusted. And what makes this story even more painful is that Ethan would probably try covering it up afterward. That's where his soul fully collapses. The second he chooses concealment over confession, he stops being the charming rogue people remember and becomes something else entirely. That transformation could honestly become one of the best character descents the show has done in years if the writers commit to it properly. We also have to talk about Lulu, because I think she would start suspecting Ethan before anyone else. Lulu knows him differently than the rest of Port Charles does. She understands how he hides fear behind jokes and charm. If anybody notices Ethan unraveling psychologically after Kristina's death, it would be her. And that opens the door for another emotional layer, because now Lulu becomes trapped between protecting somebody she once loved and exposing a killer. What fascinates me most is how believable this all feels within the current atmosphere of the show. General Hospital has been leaning heavily into emotional betrayal lately. Families cracking. Loyalty shifting. Characters carrying secrets that are too heavy to hold forever. This Ethan and Kristina storyline would fit perfectly into that darker emotional climate. It would not feel random. It would feel inevitable. And maybe that's the scariest part. Because deep down, I think Kristina would still try saving Ethan even after discovering the truth. That's who she is. She believes damaged people can come back from darkness. She believes love and honesty can pull somebody out before they drown completely. But sometimes in Port Charles, the person trying to save everybody becomes the one who pays the highest price. That's the kind of storyline that sticks with longtime viewers like us. Not because it's shocking just for the sake of shock, but because it hurts in a way that feels tragically human. And right now, watching all these little clues stack up around Ethan, I honestly cannot shake the feeling that General Hospital may be setting us up for one of the bleakest betrayals we've seen in a very long time.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.